Hi everyone, welcome to the PS Capital Sports Podcast with myself, Paul Samra, from the main man, Josh Quigley. Appreciate having you on today.
Thanks for having me, good to see you again.
To just a kind of really brief introduction, Josh and I met in his travels back in 2016, I believe. He's come in, he's done a couple guest speaking things for the business and for our sales staff, but Josh has been an incredible journey. Some of you will know him, some of you won't. From world record holder, as in the Guinness World Record book holder, for the most miles cycled in 1 week.
Yep.
Correct. And from cycling around the world to nearly death experiences, 2 or 3 different occasions. But we thought we'd get him on today, 2 days before he officially goes on to BBC and presents his documentary to the world. Correct?
Yeah, so we've got the BBC documentary coming out Friday 28th of July, Cycling Saved My Life. That's the title of the documentary. And yeah, it basically just documents and kind of journeys my story from being a guy that got into cycling much later in life, came from quite a dark place, was having mental health problems, suffering with depression, been through a breakup with my girlfriend, and yeah, attempted to take my own life. Was inspired by Sir Chris Hoy to get into cycling. Decided to try and cycle around the world. That was a journey which didn't go plain sailing at first. I had a lot of failed attempts, a lot of things went wrong. Quit a few times, but yeah, it took me about 8 attempts. I had a near-death crash in America and I got hit by a car in Texas. But yeah, after 8 attempts, 5 years, more than 26,000 miles, cycled around the world, and then evolved on from that to break a Guinness World Record for the most amount of miles cycled in a week. And yeah, now in a place where I'm competing and racing, trying to see if I can go to the highest level, and basically trying to answer the question in my life: how far can I take this? Like, how far can I go with cycling? Can I become an elite athlete at the highest level? Can I go to the Tour de France, the World Championships, the Olympics? I don't know, but I believe I can, and I'm trying to do it. And yeah, it's an interesting journey, so that's what the documentary kind of tells the story of that journey, really.
What's fascinating is, obviously I met you 7 years ago, and you're a very different man now to what you were, and that's not only just mentally. Just listening to you, I think you were in a dark place back then, and our conversations, albeit we were walking in Barcelona and doing 30,000 plus steps, were not nearly what they are like now, and it's which is a testament to your character and your perseverance and your resilience, which you speak about a lot. But also little things, from even like your diet and your control and your discipline. And the reason when we do these podcasts, the previous people we've had are professional athletes. And I always ask them is, if they were to speak to themselves maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I can't remember really kind of what we said, but let's take it 5 years ago. What would you have said to yourself for today? What would you have to speak to a Mr. Josh Quigley 5 years ago? What would you be saying?
If I was to speak to myself 5 years ago, I'd be really just trying to share a message of, keep going. Keep going, because the person I am today, you're going to become that in 5 years. And it might not seem possible right now. At that time I was just starting cycling. I was still a bit depressed, I was overweight, out of shape, coming off the back of a lot of time drinking. I was trying to pursue sobriety. And so I never really realised at that time that I would go on to become, Guinness World Record breaker and cycle around the world and all the kind of big stuff that I've done. So I think I would just try and say to that guy, like, keep going, because you're going to become that guy. And I think if I think about that where I'm at now, I've got a clear vision where I want to go. Where I want to go at the highest level, Tour de France, the big dream for me. And I feel like that guy that I can be in 2026, a few years from now, I want him to get that message to me now in the same way I'd give the message to the guy to 2018, if that makes sense.
Well, you've kind of scuppered me there, because I was going to say, what would you be telling yourself? So let's take it 2028, so 5 years down the line. What do you want to have said, or what do you want to have achieved, or kind of looking back in it, what's your ambition for then or thereabouts?
Like if I reach the level that I believe I'm capable of, 2028, I'll have 100% got to the highest level, won the Tour de France, superstar around the world, inspiring millions of people, an elite athlete at the highest level. Yeah, that's I can see it so clearly in my mind, and if I don't do that, then I'll have to accept that. But I believe that's what I'm capable of, and that's what I try to do. You know, there's a quote that really resonated with me earlier in my journey was, doesn't take any more effort to dream a big dream than it does to dream a small dream. And so I always believe in life you've got to aim for the highest possible star. Aim for the biggest thing you can possibly aim for, because that's going to take you so much further than it would without it. And so for me, like that big massive crazy dream of trying to like win the Tour de France, it's almost like phrasing it as a question. If I was to win the Tour de France, who would I need to become to do that? What sort of habits would I need to have in my life? What sort of mindset would I need to have? What sort of team do I need to have around me? What would my diet look like? And so when you have that big goal, that crazy big goal, it forces you to take bigger actions because you've got a bigger goal that you're working towards. And so that really is the mindset that I've got.
I think what's really cool about that, and what I'm hoping people will take from this, and that's my biggest reason for doing these, is I want to try and get a message to that one person or 50 people or whomever, that they just listen to one thing that can change their career path or change their life in some way, shape or form. So not only will I'm sure your journey, your personal journey, go through its ups and downs that we always discuss, but you'll be able to inspire so many people. And I think that BBC documentary, if I can get it out, will be one of those things. And hopefully later on, you never know, it could be a Netflix, it could be an Apple TV, something else. To the people listening, what other advice or what else would you like to share that you think might be could be important in their steps of whether it's sports, life, or anything really?
I think a big one for me is self-awareness. Like, you need to understand who you are. So I'm somebody that's always been very extreme. You know, I've been very addictive, very obsessive. Everything I do is like very extreme and all or nothing. And so I know that. And so rather than try to change that, because it's really quite hard to change that because it feels so deep within me, it's quite hard to change your personality when you're already 30 years old. What I try and do is I try and harness that and try and use that for good. And so that obsessive part of me, that addictive part of me, when I was younger, that was manifested with things like alcohol. And so because I was really addictive, I would go out Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, go on these big crazy benders because I was so addictive. Now, I'm still the same guy I was back then when I was drinking 4 nights a week. I'm still as addictive, still as obsessive, still got that energy within me, but I just direct that energy towards something else, which for me is cycling. And so now, I don't go to the pub 4 nights a week, but I'll go on really big long cycles, and I'll do big crazy things on the bike, like cycling 2,000 miles in a week. And I think that was a big learning for me. And I had a conversation with one of my friends that I used to drink with when I was younger, and we're just like reminiscing, talking about stories and stuff like that. And I says to him, "Oh, I was wild back then, eh?" And he was like, "You still are. You still are wild. You used to drink 4 nights a week and go on crazy benders. Now you go and break world records and cycle around the world and cycle more than 2,000 miles in a week. That's still wild. It's just a different version of wild." And so I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, and I try to use it for good. And it's, you know, it's like a conversation in train spotting between Spud and Renton, where Renton says to Spud, like, "You're an addict, you need to channel it." And then Renton goes and starts running and using all that addictive energy towards running. No, and so I don't identify as an addict. I don't think that helps me kind of positive self-talk, and I try to speak to myself in a positive way, but I understand why people do. But I think that kind of gives you the gist of what I'm trying to say, and that I think that if you're a person that's really obsessive and all or nothing and quite extreme black and white, you're going to be like me, where it's like, if you don't want to drink, you're better just being totally sober, because you're not going to have 2 drinks. And that's like me. And so I do that as well, like chocolate. I don't eat chocolate anymore, because if I have one bit, I'm having the whole fucking bar. Do you know what I mean? So, but I think coming back to that point of self-awareness, understanding who you are. Like, some people are really extreme and want to do things like me. Some people just want balance. Some people want to be into cycling but only go out 3 mornings a week and do it for a wee bit of fitness, whilst also having their job and their career and their family and their interests and going to the football and going to the cinema and all that. And that's brilliant. That's just do you. So yeah, self-awareness, understand who you are.
Yep, no, great one. and to reiterate in that point, because addiction's a huge thing in so many people's realms of life, you can use that in a certain way, as in you could be addicted to learning, or whether it's reading books, or whether it's bettering yourself in the working environment, or it's becoming a better parent or a better I don't know, partner, etc. And you can, like you said, it's about channeling those inner thoughts or beings to become a better person. Okay, give me something else. Tell me, so what else is the plan? So after the documentary, you're obviously going back to, well, you're still continuing your journey to become a professional cyclist. How's that looking like for this year and next year?
Yeah, so I'm quite lucky in the regard that I'm already a professional athlete. Like I'm a full-time athlete. I can dedicate all my time and energy to cycling and racing. I'm lucky to do that through different sponsorships and partnerships that I've got. But the next step for me is to be racing and competing. Like I've been doing this for a couple of years now. Obviously came from endurance cycling, which, you know, I was incredibly good at. Became, you know, world class, one of the best in the world. Set some of those world records that are like right up there. So my endurance and my engine is incredible, you know, up there with anybody in the world. But racing's obviously a total different discipline. It's not just about endurance. Endurance is a foundation of racing, but it's more, you know, there's a lot of technical skills and a lot of top end speed, you know, a lot more anaerobic power. So all that stuff takes a bit of time. And, you know, I'm competing and racing against guys that have been doing it for like 10, 20 years, some of them. They're never supposed to just have success right out the blocks. And so it's really tough at the moment, but I wouldn't be doing it unless I believed I could do it. Like, what reason have I got to turn up to races and get really terrible results unless I believed that I could one day succeed in it? When I could just stay in endurance and just break world records and have a really comfortable life, you know, in my comfort zone, but that's not what I want. And so I'm pushing myself for more, and the next step for me will be getting to a point where I'm becoming competitive in races, you know, starting to get results, top 10s, top 5s, getting on the podium, winning that first race, getting that momentum, and then working my way up the category system. I'm a category 3 just now, need to become 2, then 1, and then an elite, get signed by a professional team, be at the kind of pro continental level, which is kind of the first step in the pro ranks, then get signed up to the world tour, which is like the highest level, and then get to the biggest races in the world, like the Tour de France, the World Championships, and the Olympics. And that's the roadmap, and that's what I want to try and do, and that's what I'm committed to doing. And yeah, I'm giving it a lot of time and energy.
A lot of people would, if you were in your first race and you finished last, or you didn't finish and stuff, and I think you got close to that. Yeah, I think a lot of people would, as the terminology, would throw the towel in. But what I think people don't understand is that you don't appreciate success if you've not had to suffer to get there. Because if you were just successful, you wouldn't even enjoy it. You know, you wouldn't enjoy the journey, or appreciate, let's probably put it that way, the journey. So it's exciting to see you on your journey. I can't wait to come to the documentary, the premiere tomorrow night. And no, but as always, we love having you in the office. I love you when you kind of speak to the guys in the office, get them all kind of wowed up and geared up to kind of hopefully give PAS Capital what we're looking for the sales guys. Anything else you want to add?
I think I'll just do a wee piece on kind of resilience and, you know, mental strength. You know, I think when I started my journey, I wasn't in a great place mentally. I think the thing I was looking for was happiness. I just wanted to be happy. And I kind of became obsessed by this concept of happiness. And I was reading all these books about happiness and just wanted to be happy. And I kind of got to a point where, you know, I got a lot happier than I was, but you kind of get to a point where you realise that happiness isn't the goal for me. For me, the goal in my life is meaning and purpose. Like, that's what makes me happy. So even I feel like my life means something, and I've got a clear goal and a vision, and I've got purpose, and I wake up every day and I know what I'm working towards. That's what I love. Like, I'm always been the sort of guy that sets big, huge goals. And it's not about the destination and achieving that goal. It's just because of the focus and the discipline it brings to my life day to day. That's something to work towards. Like, I don't really know what to do in my life if I'm not working towards something. Like, because obviously my life as an athlete, always trying to like be in shape and, you know, always lose a kilo or two. I feel like I'm always trying to lose a wee bit of fat, and I'm always working towards that. And I think that, I like that, I enjoy that, I enjoy the progress of working towards a goal. Then once you get that goal, it's great, you know, a huge big moment, celebration. And then you set another one and keep going. Not because you think you're ever going to find anything that's going to fix a part of you, just because you love the process of working towards goals. And so for me, that's what I love. You know, I've got this goal at the moment with my racing and competing and trying to, you know, win my first race. That's one of my small goals that I've got on that journey to the Tour de France. And, you know, the process of that, you know, what do I need to do in training, nutrition, working with my coach, stretching, sleep, recovery. It's like, all that stuff's exciting, man. I love it. That's what I love about setting goals and working towards them. It's just the process and the journey.
Well, people can relate that into the work environment. You know, you come into a new office environment and you want to move up the board, the sales team, well, the sales ladder, and then you want to become number one in the office, then you want to be number one in the district, and blah, blah, blah. So that's good. I love that. And again, resilience for me is such a big thing in life, and your personal journey from respect to personal meaning. But again, what's really key is that you're going to inspire a lot of people. And I love that, and I'm proud of you for what you've achieved the last 7 years. And as a friend and as somebody always here for you whenever you need for a wee chin wag, to see you in your continued journey. I can't wait to see the next steps.
Yeah, I'll just finish on that. That's one of my core kind of motivators for keeping going, is that I know that I've got a story and I know where I came from. And I think if you look at like elite athletes, if you look at like, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, you know, Bergkamp, see all these guys, they all started playing football when they started walking, basically. And so it's quite hard to look at a Ronaldo or a Messi for the average person, look at them and go, oh, I can relate to them, because they're like a superstar athlete. And I think just because of my story, where I came from, started cycling much later in life, I'm just an everyday guy, to see me at that highest level, like on the Tour de France. Imagine turning on the telly and I'm on the Tour de France and I'm at the Olympics or the World Championships, and like something can go, do you know that guy only started cycling properly when he was 27? You know, that, think about that as a story. It's too big a story, and it would change too many lives, and it would impact too many people for me not to try and do that. Yeah. And that's why I'm invested in it so much, because I just believe that if I can reach the highest level and become an elite athlete at the highest level, elite sport, the story's too good and will inspire too many people, and too much good will come off the back of it. You know, we're talking hundreds of millions of pounds raised for charity. Like, look at what Lance Armstrong done. Fair enough, right? You know that story. But if you can do that with that story, what could you do with my story? You know, guy comes back to cancer and wins the Tour de France. Correct. Guy starts cycling because he's depressed when he's later in life and goes to the Tour de France. Such a good story, man. Yeah. Such a good story.
In a clean way, of course.
Yeah, of course. I got into cycling to get away from drugs. Yeah,
no, for sure. Okay, well, anyway, there's so much. We're going to get you back on probably in our 6 months, maybe 12 months down the line, once you've won your first race. Yeah. Hopefully I'll be there to watch you get across the finish line, onto the podium. But as always, love having you about, buddy. I love the positive energy you bring off, and can't wait to see you tomorrow night doing your thing.
Thank you.
Cheers.